So thank you, Guru, for accepting my invitation to speak with me for Coherence 2025. My name is Christine, and I'm here today representing Q1 Network, or Quorum One, and I'm here with my colleague Niels, who is also from Q1, and we would love to just dive into some open conversation and explore interests. Niels is quite technically oriented, so if that's something, Guru, that you feel like you guys want to dive in together, I'm happy to listen and learn. But I guess to start off with, um, I'm interested in your practices and protocols, is the way I'm imagining it, for Let's Grow DAO. Like, how do you
Mhm,
involve people into the experience and invite them in, and what do they actually do as part of Let's Grow DAO?
mhm. Yeah, thanks, Christine, for making this conversation happen. Happy to be here for Coherence, and I guess we can dive in. Maybe just to give you a little bit background on what Let's Grow DAO is and how it is structured as a DAO. Maybe that puts things in context for the question you asked. Let's Grow DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization where we have voting members, DAO voting members, and there are contributors. So the DAO voting members are one person, one vote system, and there are 21 voting members right now. So most of the financial decisions are voted by the majority, and it has to pass a majority vote, and the non-financial ones are more voted based on reputation. So the people who contribute to the DAO, they earn a token called Grow token, and the more you contribute to the organization, the more Grow tokens you earn, and in the non-financial decisions you have a higher voting power for things that the DAO is trying to do in different activities that we take up. With so starting with that, and I think Let's Grow Live is our premium offering. It's a public good actually, so we don't charge anybody for doing this. We've been doing it for free the last 5 editions, and it takes a lot of effort in the background to pull this off. There are because it's a 24/7 program that runs for 2 weeks continuously. There is plenty of preparation before we go live, and then the during the Let's Grow Live uh, program, there's a lot of moving parts. And then post Let's Grow Live as well, there is, post production, which we don't do really well at the moment. But so maybe just to get started on the pre-production part, we really have very less time to work with usually, because the startups, the projects that get into these grant rounds usually are notified, say, 3 days before the program starts, or even sometimes, even after the program starts, there are projects that get accepted into it. So we really have to, wait until, say, the last day to have like a finalized list of all the hosts and their timings for the day. And they are expected to, show up at the same time every day for 2 weeks. So it's quite a bit of commitment from the host, but also there are stewards in the background who, help the host navigate through all the technical difficulties during the hosting sessions. So normally we aim to have 12 stewards who steward for 2 hours each in a day, and we have hosts depending on the demand are expected to take up 1 hour slot or half-hour slots. We have set process of how we reach out to them. There's a form they fill, and they signal which times they can host during the 2 weeks. and then we take all of those inputs from them. We organize them into slots because yeah, people have different preferences and there are clashing times. So there's yeah a lot of work that needs to get done by the stewards, and then we notify them about their final the program that works for yeah most people, and then if we need to like fine tune some of that, we still do that in the last day. So yeah, that's just a little bit of like what goes behind the scenes. And there's also, if there are new
Yeah.
hosts and new stewards, there's some training that needs to get done on how to operate the software systems and how to be a good host and things like that. So yeah, that takes a bit of self prep from the host. And yeah, if we have enough time, we actually also have, live training sessions to help them through this. And
Yeah.
once the timings are allocated and the slots are finalized, yeah, we don't dictate on the topics that they talk about or yeah, what they do during their hosting time. Yeah, it's self-driven, so they understand what's best for their project, and yeah, they design it accordingly. Yeah, so that's like, yeah, then we enter the Let's Go Live program, and yeah, during that, there's lots of, we mainly do it on X. Twitter is the platform where we do it because it's, audio. It's easy for people to like quickly join and jump out of the space if needed. And there's a feature for people, listeners to, come up and become speakers. And yeah, there's the steward, there's the co-host, and there's the speakers in the space, right? And the co-hosts are the ones who let speakers up and delegate people or relegate people back to listeners if there are too many people on stage. So that's the role of the stewards behind the scenes. And yeah, just people, yeah, do what they need to do. And um, yeah, they bring guests, they yeah, engage with the community, they yeah, talk about their product or project, and there's a lot of coordination and collaboration happening when because the community can ask any type of question, and there's a collaboration opportunity. People just show up and say, hey, I'm doing this over here, why don't we work together? So there's a lot of these instant connections that happen, which otherwise is, I don't know if it's actually possible. So that's kind of exciting to see, and people find that really valuable.
Mhm.
And yeah, so this happens for 2 weeks, and the yeah, we have different programs or like tricks to engage the community. We have like, yeah, there are, I can go more into those details, but yeah, I don't want to stretch this
I
question
have
too long.
I have a follow-up question. I was wondering, like, so what is the goal of all of this? Is like each participant, are they trying to share their project so that they can get funding or so that people vote for them? Is that what this is about?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, precisely. So the way I'm not sure if you know how quadratic funding works. If
a
you'd
little
like
bit.
to,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so the way quadratic funding works is there's a pool of money, and there's a bunch of projects competing for that pool of money. And the way the allocation gets decided is how many votes does a project get from individuals versus how much money they raise. So there is more preference given to the broad support that a project gets versus the amount of financial support a project gets. So it's a really democratic way to determine which project is valuable to the community. And so when you give them a platform to talk to their community about their project, so they're really trying to convince the community to vote for them. Yeah, that's kind of the fruit that they're ultimately trying to sell. But there's also more things happening underneath, which, is beyond financial also. There's so much, like you spend so much time with your co-hosts, your stewards, and usually the same listeners end up, coming during your time, because that's when they're free during the day. So you tend to build like really close relationships with the people around your hosting time. Um, yeah.
Yeah. And so do just anyone show up to become funders, or is it a small group of funders who are contributing?
Uh, Anyone, so there's a voting criteria. I mean, this all happens on the blockchain. So you have to firstly prove you're a human to qualify for a vote. And because, yeah, people on blockchain can create multiple wallets and vote through multiple projects, acting as if it's from different people. So there's a mechanism to do, this thing called Sybil resistance. And yeah, so you have to prove that you're a human, and basically anyone who's a human can vote to any of these projects. And the
Yeah.
minimum donation that needs to happen is $1 for your vote to get counted. So yeah, it starts with $1, but there's no top limit on how much you can donate to a project.
Niels, any thoughts or any questions coming up?
Yeah, I'm obviously linking this to Quorum One, because obviously we also want to make funding available. So I would love to explore how we can sort of align and help you, and then also create a platform for the projects inside Quorum One to use your offering as a way to get funding, either be part of an existing cohort or have a separate dedicated cohort. Do you have experience with getting outside networks like Quorum One to provide new projects, or do they
Yeah,
at this
for
point
sure.
just come from everywhere?
So the platform on which the fundraising happens is called Gitcoin
Yeah, I
grants.
know Bitcoin. Yeah.
And their software is open source. So if you would like to do something for Quorum One, you can start your own round with, and if you have funding for that, you can pool that money into that round, and you can invite all of the projects. You can have a category, right? So there must be something you're optimizing for, and invite projects that want to raise funds into this round. And then you can be basically the round operator, right? So you decide, you can design a process for that, whether it's your team, or a bunch of experts. You decide what the criteria and qualification is, and then you invite projects to apply to this round. And once they're in the round, everyone who's part of a Gitcoin grant round gets to see your round as well. And then if it seems interesting to them, they can go into the round, and they can see all the projects that are that qualified. And then if they find if they want to support these projects, they can support the project. So yeah, that's how it works.
But
It's totally possible. It's a very easy process for you to run your own round.
yeah, but is there potential where that you can help, like that we partner with you instead of going directly to Kitcoin and participate in a round there? Like, is there potential to collaborate with Let's Grow?
Sure. Yeah, we have run around as a we've collaborated with other round operators, and we have run around as well. And yeah, we basically, the Let's Grow DAO is a we Let's Grow Live is one of our products, and we are looking into becoming a funder as well in the future, where we pool these resources and we set the criteria and we select the projects that get into the round. So yeah, we do have that in our pipeline, but yeah, we're not sure when exactly we want to execute it, but happy to, work with you and partner with you if you have something specific that you want to do. Yeah, definitely happy to help.
Yeah, so it's I'm just talking about sort of like a realignment of the alignment of the roadmap and sort of, and not something for next week, but if you're
Yeah.
already doing something, like maybe Core One doesn't have to recreate it, and we can sort of partner together.
hmm
The question is like, are you focusing on particular projects? Like, what are the like, how do you um, um, curate the projects that come in, or are you
hmm
open for anyone? Like, how do you curate that?
Right. So, Gitcoin grants has the community rounds, which are community led, and there are core rounds which Gitcoin funds, right? So,
Yeah.
Gitcoin have their own categories. They want to support open source builders. They want to support Ethereum infrastructure projects. They want to support um, yeah, I mean, they can have, whatever categories they want to. And community led are more, okay, projects that are working on climate change, projects that are working land based projects that are exclusively regenerating land. You can also have a purely tech focused impact, round. So it really depends on what you're trying to optimize for and what your community is, like whom do you want to include from your community, right? If you have a category that you want to do, then yeah, it's up to you to, decide on that criteria. But yeah, happy to
But so
like
for
help
you,
you through that process. Yeah.
yeah, but to understand like what Let's Grow DAO, like, are you focusing on a particular category? Are you land based or like agriculture? Like, what is the grow part in the Let's Grow? Is that growing people or growing bananas?
It's growing the movement. It's growing the movement,
Okay.
right? Yeah, growing the yeah, our mission is grow the region REFI movement.
Yeah.
REFI stands for Regenerative Finance, and that tends to be more tech focused. Although we haven't explicitly done anything for that, the only round we ran was for people. So people working in the regenerative finance ecosystem. Yeah, we had I think 50 or 75 people who were fundraising for like as a contribution they made historically to the movement. We were like acknowledging that and giving like showing our support for them to like continue working in this space, right? So that's the one thing we did. But now what we're looking to do is identify gaps that need to be addressed and yeah, see where projects that need to be supported are not getting supported and like kind of fill that gap. So yeah, like personally, I'm not, this is not me speaking for the DAO, but I think projects that build tech solutions don't have enough funding to build this like common infrastructure that we all rely on in the for the refi space, and I think that's where we should focus our in the future if we do a round. I think that would be my suggestion to the DAO. But again, it has to like go through the voting process and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And refi, is that Web3 crypto, or could it
yeah.
be like older technology to create regenerative financial infrastructure?
Yeah, I think a big part of refi is Web3, and
Yeah.
yeah, also yeah, AI is again a part of it, but not the core, I would say. Um, yeah, so yeah, that's the tech part of it, and there are projects that are using these tools and implementing things, doing tracking, impact reporting, all of that on Web3 tools, which is also great. I think there are a lot of projects doing that, so that shows that these tools are, useful, and, there's a product market fit for the,
Yeah.
technical products that people build, but there's a huge gap in like the funding that the startups have, because we're like kind of in the middle, right? So we are, the crypto people don't care about impact, and the climate people think Web3 is a scam. So we're like kind
Yeah.
of trying to see
Yeah.
like how we could, bring both of these sides more to the middle, right? So
Yeah.
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 Well, it's interesting.
Awesome.
Maybe Niels can speak a bit more too about, we have this internal mechanism for generating like contribution tracking. Well, is that what it is? Um, a way of like mobilizing funding using REV points and REV tokens. Do you feel confident to speak about that, Niels?
Yeah. So, although it's early stage, I mean, in a Web3 way, like it's not Web3 based as of yet, but we want to facilitate projects to recognize the contribution of other people who are contributing to the project, and we have a financial instrument called REV Points and REV Tokens, which is linked to investment coming in and then being able to pay people um, basically a token that gives them right to future revenue. So it's not like a traditional share. It's also not a coin in the Web3 sense, but we try to recognize the value contribution before the projects can pay in dollars or any other
Exactly.
currency. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's sort of to allow projects to get going and to get
Mm-hmm.
contributors who believe in the project, do not need to be paid at, um, um, but do get recognized for the value contribution in a way that is also linked to future revenue and future income. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so we have that mechanism set up. One of the things I think are interesting in line also with what you're doing is like, how do we get outside funding into Quorum One and into the project? So that could be where Quorum One pools financial resources and uses something like quadratic voting to distribute the funding to the projects, or we facilitate the funding into the projects directly, similar to what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
with Let's Grow. And so then the
Mm-hmm.
question is like, do we build stuff ourselves for this, or do we partner up with those who have experience, and do we find a way to create a shared value?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's plenty of tools for doing that. Firstly, to attribute people for their contribution, and yeah, the second thing is the funding part. So yeah, there's quite a lot of platforms that have solved this problem. I don't think you should build something from scratch,
Yeah,
especially if you're not doing something new, other than, let's say, quadratic funding or quadratic voting, or yeah, there are multiple mechanisms in the Web3 space that we're experimenting with. So yeah, it's not just these two. Depending on like the kind of projects and the stage in which the projects are operating in, you can choose different mechanisms that you can apply. So yeah, I would suggest that definitely check out what's out there already, and yeah, I think there's plenty out there for you to just pick up and use right now. So yeah.
Yeah, like I think
yeah,
it sounds interesting to me because there are projects that we've already identified that are coming from the foundation team. So even just to get the network up and running, there's a few projects like Network Experience Team is one of them, which is the team that I'm in. But then there's other projects coming up that are like marketing projects or um, sort of even more,
finance.
yeah, like there's a whole
Mm-hmm.
range. And I wonder if there's any value like in putting that forward in a way of like a proposal or something where people vote on which one is the best outcome. It might not apply for every situation, but it could apply for some where like we're trying to make decisions that would affect the whole network, whether that's like implementation of a tool or like some other kind of core piece
Mm.
that is needed.
Hmm.
That's what I'm thinking of when you guys are talking about this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
maybe
is.
the funding is not about building something, but about integrating. Right? It's supposed to be cheaper,
Mm.
and so eh, if we see other initiatives that are doing something that we see our own need for, then we can raise funding to make two solutions work together instead of building a duplicate of it. So that's, I think we can
Exactly.
explore that definitely, Christine.
Okay, yeah. I think we are working towards a crowdfunding concept in around September or like around the autumn this year. And the idea is that it's not necessarily all about funding for Q1. It's about funding for projects on the network. So it sounds like very similar in some ways to what you're saying. And so I'd be curious to go deeper into that and think about
Hmm.
like, because I think we're using a platform called Republic, which is like a pretty standard crowdfunding platform.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm not sure how else we would build in more of those features like what you're talking about there.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a bit of a nuance there, with the different mechanisms that you apply. Um, yeah, yeah, if you want to build an ecosystem, I think quadratic funding is the best way to do it because um, yeah, it's more you're like trying to reach out to your like broader community to participate in this voting because they have a stake in it. But if you want to be efficient with your capital, there can be other mechanisms which are better for a specific use case, right? So if you have to like prioritize on like which solutions get built, I don't know if wisdom of the crowds is the best option for that, but
Right. Yeah.
um, but yeah, and also, yeah, with quadratic funding, you need to have like a minimum to execute a project. You need to have, a minimum budget that can, see the project through, right? So if it doesn't hit the threshold, then you might, yeah, not complete it, and the projects might just fizzle out. So yeah, there are all these nuances. And if you talk about Republic, I think that's more for projects that are mature and they've like shown a MVP and, something like that. And then they're ready to raise from VCs or, broader investors like institutional investors. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a whole range, right, of projects
Mm.
in different phases and how you want to support them. So yeah.
Okay.
Happy to, like ideate through this if that's something you're looking at Q1. And yeah, it would
Great.
be fun to help. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I feel like there could be a couple of mechanisms that we're touching on here. Like one is that external funding need, which could be through Republic, but then there may also be an internal need to have this way of using all of the REV tokens and REV points that have been generated, because there has been a whole bunch generated with investors already. So there's sort of like some waiting to be dispersed and to be applied for different projects, but it's about having the right process and the right way to do that. And
Hmm.
I like how much like engagement back and forth and um, input there is into what you described. Like maybe it's not always the wisdom of the crowd that's needed, but I like that there's like thought and consideration and reasons for like getting to the place where it gets to at the end. And like that in itself, I think is interesting to like build a process like that would work for Q1. So yeah. But we do have a couple of other people potentially, like we could share this summary with them from this chat, and they're more on the finance side and on this like funding side for Q1. So yeah, we could perhaps arrange a second chat if you think that'd also be valuable for you as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of mechanisms out there. The design space is like, yeah, not unlimited, but yeah, it's got many options. So yeah, if there's capital to be deployed, usually the constraint is capital. And yeah, capital formation is the bigger constraint than capital deployment. So yeah, I think if you take care of the capital formation, then yeah, a lot of things can be unlocked. So yeah.
And what about yourself? Do you have interest to be like a consultant in this area to other organizations? Because it sounds like you're not super keen to offer your services. Is that am I getting that right?
Yeah, not really, but yeah, we've been so because our DAO is we're actually trying to our DAO grew like quite quickly over the last 1.5 years, and we've been like trying to steer it in the right way, like set all the right processes in a way that like we can function more efficiently. And that's why I don't want to like take up anything new until we fix those issues. But yeah, I mean, if it's a longer term conversation, let's say 6 months or something like that, then I think it'll give us enough time to work with. So yeah, I mean, as a consultant, yeah, happy to, do that. Yeah, there's plenty of people in the DAO with, different expertise in building startups, being involved in, capital allocation, capital formation mechanism. So yeah, we've been like through this journey, with, all the members are mostly founders in the DAO. So yeah, they bring different expertise from different fields, and yeah, happy to facilitate that for Q1.
Yeah, I think also with a similar timeline, we can also explore like how we, from a Quorum One perspective, can unburden you with operational things, so that you can focus on your core, and we can explore like how we can help you, so we can also have that exchange of value, that you help us and we help you. I understand that like you have a clear focus in the short term, and this is also from my perspective not something we want to create new projects for you in that short term horizon. But yeah, definitely interested to explore like within a 6 month horizon what could be possible, and think about that without making strict agreements and allocating time for projects.
Yeah, that sounds good actually. Yeah, we've also had this idea to, do funding and like allocate capital. So the capital formation part is the tough one, because yeah, it needs a lot of, talking to people, reaching out to our broader network, and getting them to participate in this pool. We're also trying to see how we can, optimize some of the things, maybe like bring new mechanisms into the, play, and yeah, see how we can support startups that are operating in the refi space go to the next level. Because I think with grants, there's only so much you can do. But if, let's say, you've gone from, say, ideation to a proof of concept through grants, and then you want to take the next step to reach an MVP, you need more consistent capital to work with, right? And also more support in terms of the network and mentors and yeah, more like an accelerator kind of a scene is what is I think is needed for the space that we're operating in. So yeah, we're trying to like put all of these puzzles together and see what best we can do than just like a simple quadratic funding round, which is yeah, I think it's done. It's got one purpose, but yeah, where we need to go, I think we need something different. So yeah, that's where we're at
Yeah,
internally. Yeah, from understanding the space we operate in.
and I think we will end up looking at making similar infrastructure available for initiatives that come from within Quorum One. So yeah, probably good to align and check in a couple of months to see like what we already have, how we can make that available to you. So we don't need to get organized at the complex level in two ways, but we already have something available for you and you have something available for us, so we can collaborate there.
Yeah, sounds perfect. I think, yeah, what we've been looking at keenly is also something Victor has been working on with Evolute 6 and Region B and these guys with the ergodic investing mechanism. I think that's really cool and interesting. Yeah, that's also a part of my interest. And yeah, it seems like we might be heading in that direction also. So yeah, just giving you a heads up on that.
Okay, what is ergodic investing? Can you give me a short,
Oof.
tiny?
Um, okay, I may not be the best person to explain this, but I'm gonna try
I'll
anyway.
Google it.
Yeah. Usually what happens with, VC investing, is they have a portfolio of projects, right?
Mhm.
Um, let's say they have 10 projects and they aim to, they expect one of them to, 10x and them to return the money back to the LPs. So it's a so they don't work from resilience perspective. So they don't count, they don't envision all the possible ways these startups could fail, and there's no built-in mechanism to guard against that. So all these startups are working individually in their own capacity to become successful. But whereas ergodic investing tells you that there's a better way to do investing where you don't have to, take chances like gambling with each startup on whether they're going to, be successful or not. But you can pool them together and have them share, let's say revenues. And yeah, you can have shared resources as well that like each one can tap into. And yeah, that builds a more like a resilient ecosystem. It's more like a agroforest, right? So like one nutrient from one plant gets used by the other plant, and if there's a threat to one plant, like some other plants can like help that plant recover, right? So it's
Mhm.
more it's a more natural way of working. There are multiple instances where this mechanism has worked in different parts of the world. In India, there are like communities that do this, even though they work. Let's say they work in tile manufacturing, right? Even though they're like building the same product, but they share, the natural resources. Let's say this clay, which gives them the raw material to produce these things, and then they kind of pool their profits and make sure they have this common resource that they can all contribute to, which makes them stronger overall. So yeah,
More
it's a whole
cooperative.
something like
Yeah.
that, but it's more scientific, yeah, they have a whole mathematical model to showcase if you say pool 5% of your profits into this common pool, how much beneficial would it be to everyone versus everyone working individually in their own capacity
Yeah,
without any shared pooling. And
Okay.
yeah,
very
it's a
interesting.
night and day difference in how you build resilient startups, and the chances of startups being successful is, I think, increases at least by like 4x or something like that. So yeah,
Wow.
it's very interesting, and I think Graham Boyd, you should check out his work. It's called Evolute 6. I believe they signed up to be one of the stewards at Coherence, but I don't think they're doing that at the moment. Um,
Hmm.
so
I think
yeah,
I indicated like to internally to Q1 that we should speak with Evolute 6. I think maybe Hank or Jay even or Esteban could
yeah,
speak with them.
Stefan,
Yeah. So, and I really like what Joshua's doing as well. So I'm definitely trying to
yeah,
follow his progress. Yeah.
yeah. Joshua is the one who onboarded you, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, it's I think Joshua is also part of Evolute 6. They're all
Yeah.
working together to I think do a pilot of this mechanism for the regenerative movement.
For
And
Regen V.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The interesting thing is in the ergodic investing mechanism, you're not just optimizing for financial capital, but also the other kinds of capital,
Mm.
and all of them like, feed into each other. So you don't have to necessarily pursue
Mm.
what the current economic system is optimizing for. We all can do different things, but also thrive together. Is
Mm.
this is the thesis. So that's really
Well,
interesting.
that feels like a great place to wrap up. Do either of you guys have anything else to chip in, or you feel like complete with that?
Yeah, complete for now. Looking forward to connect and talk again later.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah, same. I think we had I think good introduction. There's lots more to dive deeper into.
Mhm.
It's been a nice conversation. Let's talk more soon.